How to Make Money UFC Nashville, Derek Lewis versus Talishan Teixeira. Now I'm going to go over the whole card, breaking down my bets, my reasoning for the bet, where I'm putting my money this week, my underdog of the week bet, a couple of props with some juicy odds, and lock of the week. Bit of a recap on the following card, UFC 317. We were successful with a $6.20 odd prop with the Terence McKinney round one submission. Was successful with our underdog of the week and Benil Dariush. We did fail miserably with our lock of the week, but believe me, I'm back with a much more confident and a safer lock of the week for this card. We're going to just break down a couple of fights. Not really the whole card. We already did a full card breakdown, so mainly just going to be the fights that I am betting on. Yeah, so we're going to start with the lock of the week. Now, the lock of the week, we're going to go to Max Griffin versus Chris Curtis. Now, just so you guys know for future reference, my lock of the week bet, it can be an accumulation of 7 legs. It could be 8 legs. It could be 1 leg. My lock of the week bet has to be at $2 odds. It has to be plus money, which means you double your money. You put $10, you get back 20. You put 100, you get 200. That's my requirements for lock of the week. I'm not just gonna feed you guys like all these other dickheads on here a fucking $1.30 lock of the week. That's not hard to do, bro. A non-MMA fan, someone who knows nothing about the sport, can come on here and give out a $1.50 lock of the week. It's not hard, but for this week's lock of the week, at just at plus money, we just got this at $2 odds. We are going to be taking Chris Curtis by decision. Now, Max Griffin's terrible. He's terrible. In his last fight though was definitely the worst performance out of his probably the worst performance he's ever had inside the UFC against Michael Chiesa. Um, very, very, very low output. Now, when I was watching that fight take place, I was just thinking, fuck, for these guys' next fights, I'm just betting on whoever fucking faces them because they both look dog shit, including Chiesa. Chiesa got the rear naked choke in round 3, but the first 2 rounds, Max Griffin, like it looked like out there, like he was just accepting a decision loss. Like he just wanted a paycheck. He was just okay with losing a decision, and he just looked terrible. He had such a low output. Like now, as you can see on the screen in front of me, Max Griffin has nearly half the amount of significant strikes landed per minute as Chris Curtis. And now Chris Curtis is going down to 170. I believe he's going to be quicker. I believe he's going to be more active. He mixes up his weapons well, and especially a lot better than Max Griffin. He's not just a headhunter. This is a big thing that I like about Chris Curtis. He doesn't just go to the head and chase the knockout. He builds himself as the fight goes on. Sometimes he does start slow, but Max Griffin is slow the whole fight, so it's not going to matter in a 3-round fight with someone like Max Griffin with low output himself. Chris Curtis is going to chop to the leg. He's going to go to the lead leg. He's going to go to the body, and he's going to constantly go forward. And he has good defense. He is coming off that round 3 knockout loss to Roman Kopylov. Now, that just wasn't a knockout loss. Mark Smith's a retard. Like, whether he allowed that fight to go 1 second more, it would have been a decision. Now, Chris Curtis would have lost or won a decision. Regardless, that wasn't a knockout loss. Like, Roman Kopylov was nowhere near him. Like, wouldn't have even landed like a ground and pound strike or a TKO finishing strike after that. So, Mark Smith's just retarded. But Chris Curtis, um, now, a lot of people may be thinking he could go out there and get the finish, which he could, but I wouldn't be confident in that. I'm a lot more confident in the decision. It's only 15 minutes to work. Max Griffin, he's not a guy that's going to go forward and throw dumb shots and get countershotted. He doesn't have a terrible chin. I believe he does only have one TKO loss on his record, and that was to Colby Covington years ago with some ground and pound, guy with good cardio. But I believe it's going to be just like similar to the Jack Hermanson Chris Curtis fight, but in the sense that the roles are going to be reversed. Chris Curtis is going to be the Jack Hermanson in this fight. He's just going to outpoint him, win a 30-27 dominant decision. Um, Chris Curtis is a very good fighter. I think at 170 he's going to have a lot more success as well, especially in the striking when he does fight predominant strikers in the welterweight division. He's not going to have that power difference, like if Curtis was to go up against a guy like fucking Polo Costa or a guy like a Mavov, which he did, but then the fight got cut off due to the eye poke. It's just there's a big size and power factor there. It's not going to be that it's not going to be that big at 170. So I feel like he's going to have a lot more success, especially with this style of opponent. So Chris Curtis is the lock of the week. Chris Curtis by decision at plus money, $2 odds. Slam the fuck out of that. I'm very confident I'm going to be able to redeem myself this week following last card's failed lock of the week. So, yeah, there we go for lock of the week. Now, just for future reference as well, we're going to go from lock of the week to underdog of the week, and then we're going to move on to our props. So, just a little note to take moving forward. Now, my underdog of the week is going to be Calvin Kattar. Now, I've been in the comment sections this week debating with various people, probably people that are watching this video. I've been in some fucking arguments with, debating this one online now. Calvin Kattar's underrated in this fight. He's been overlooked. People are believing that Steve Garcia is just going to go out there and score a first round TKO like he has in his last two fights, and he's got 5 knockouts in a row, 5 TKOs in a row. But there's a lot more to look at in this one. Now, Steve Garcia, he's a go forward in your face pressure type fighter, southpaw. He doesn't now. People who understand boxing, he doesn't have good technique. He's not a good technical boxer. He's a guy who's going to overpower you and he's just an aggression merchant. He doesn't actually put his combinations together. He's not like a Taporia that goes forward with, proper technique, body, head. His defense is on par. That's not Steve Garcia, and that's been shown before. He has been knocked out. He has been dropped. Calvin Kattar's never been knocked out in his life. Now, I believe by the end of this breakdown, if you're watching this and you're so confident in Steve Garcia, you're going to be less confident because this isn't my opinion. This is the facts. Calvin Kattar's never been knocked out. He's been in there with the likes of Max Holloway, Arnold Allen, Josh Emmett, guys that can put a pace on you for the course over 5 rounds, like Max Holloway. He didn't even knock out Kattar in the 5 rounds. Yes, he took a hell of a lot of punishment that he stood standing the whole fight, didn't get knocked down once, didn't go to the ground, didn't get knocked out. Josh Emmett stayed in there with 5 rounds with Emmett. Emmett's got more power than Steve Garcia. If Steve Garcia is going to knock out fucking Calvin Kattar, you better hope Josh Emmett did, because Steve Garcia, this is the same guy who got knocked out by Mahashate. Mahashate's on a losing streak right now. He just lost he just got dominated by Nicholas Motor, and Nicholas Motor just lost, even though that was like a very good fight with Motor and Sadikov. But if you actually take the time, if you're watching this and you haven't watched Steve Garcia's fights, you haven't done the tape study, you're not like just doing these casual picks. Go watch the fucking fights. Go watch the tape before commenting and putting your money on something. It's one of the things I always tell my like friends of mine and stuff. Don't put money on things that you're not educated on. Like, guys just throw their money on a fighter they've never known before. Now, Steve Garcia, he came into the UFC and he lost to Luis Pena via unanimous decision. Just a little breakdown on Luis Pena. Currently not in the UFC anymore. He is 12-8. So that's just a mentioning. Steve Garcia came into the UFC, lost to a guy with a 12-8 record. He also got cut from the UFC, and he won 3 fights in a row, then he lost 3 fights in a row, then he won 1, and now he's on a 2-fight losing streak. So just keep that in mind. A 12-8 opponent who's on a 2-fight losing streak right now, that's Steve Garcia's opponent in his debut, lost to him. Now, this is a fight that really stuck out to me watching the tape on. Now, Steve Garcia in October of 2021 fought a opponent by the name of Charlie Ontiveros. Now, I can't really pronounce his last name properly. This guy, he's not in the UFC anymore. He hasn't fought since 2022. Another guy with a terrible record. He's 11-9, and he's been knocked out in all 9 losses. This guy here, he fought Steve Garcia. He's 11-9. He's out of the UFC. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. He's retired. He's probably teaching a cardio kickboxing class. He knocked down Steve Garcia 4 times. 4 times in that fight, an 11-9. So just to break that down for you guys, we just broke over the fact that Steve Garcia got dominated by unanimous decision to Luis Pena, who was a 12-8 opponent. Now we're talking about an 11-9 opponent, and he got knocked down 4 times by him. Like, it's ridiculous to me. People don't even know about this fight, and they're so confident that Steve's just going to go forward and walk forward through his first top 15 opponent and get the first round knockout. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. Now, this fight, Steve Garcia did end up getting the finish. Credit to him. He did end up finishing Charlie in the second round with some ground strikes, but bro, he continuously got hurt in that matchup. He got dropped 4 times. He got wobbled a bunch. Um, and this Charlie guy, he's a southpaw karate wonder boy, fucking wannabe, like terrible striking. Um, yeah, hurt him just multiple times. Now, if we go to some of his other fights, then the fight after that, so breaking down his first 3 fights, loses to Luis Pena, 12-8 opponent, beats Charlie Ontiveros, who's 11-9, gets knocked down 4 times with him though, has a war with a can. Then he gets knocked out in round 1 by Mahashate. Mahashate, like I said, he's on a losing streak right now. He's a can, just lost to Nicholas Moda. Believe he's booked for UFC Shanghai. But yeah, Mahashate, he's not a good fighter. Well, he's a good fighter, but he's never going to be someone in the lightweight division, the featherweight division. Then he goes out there and KOs Chase Hooper. Now, Chase Hooper's incredibly overrated. Even his jiu-jitsu is overrated. Couldn't even get close to submitting Jim Miller, but he just dominates Chase Hooper on the feet because Chase Hooper on the feet is literally an embarrassment to MMA. Dominates Chase Hooper, so be it. Then again, the fight with Nurdan Becker, that was at UFC 287, Pereira versus Adesanya 2. He gets the second round knockout, but he got dropped twice in that fight. Twice in that fight. So 1, 2, 3 out of his last 4 fights, he's getting dropped. And these guys aren't in the UFC anymore. Now, Mahashate is in the UFC, but he's on a losing streak. Charlie Ontiveros, not in the UFC. Nurdan Becker, not in the UFC. The fight before that, Luis Pena, not in the UFC. These are guys who have beat him and done serious damage to him. Now, Nurdan Becker dropped him twice, fumbled a finish. Steve Garcia ended up getting the second round finish because he kind of just gassed out. But Calvin Kattar doesn't have that cardio issue. He's gone 5 rounds. Josh Emmett, Max Holloway, he's been in there with other great contenders. Arnold Allen, Yusuf Salal's a top 15 guy. He's never been knocked out before. He does have a TKO on his loss on his record. That was from Arnold Allen, the leg kicking injury. But he's never been knocked out. And Steve Garcia has been hurt, knocked out, wobbled, dropped in it's more often than not. And then even, his next fight, he beats Malik Wazal Costa. He kind of was getting grinded out by that guy. Ended up getting the second round TKO. Credit to him. That's a good win by Steve Garcia. Next fight, Suwoo Choi. Suwoo Choi is a can. Suwoo Choi is going to be out of the UFC very soon. I'm pretty sure he's coming off a loss to Daniel Santos as well. He's on a losing streak too. And then he beats Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson's fucking terrible. Kyle Nelson's one of the most I remember seeing people picking Kyle Nelson to beat Steve Garcia in that fight. And these are the same people that are saying fucking Calvin Kattar has no chance. But fucking Kyle Nelson is a good pick. Like, it's fucking ridiculous to me. How I see this fight going is how Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez went. Now, Adrian Yanez was this hyped up boxer. He was on a bit of a KO streak, on a tear, just got his first ranked test with Rob Font. This is exactly the same scenario. And you know what's funny? They have very similar styles. Both have the same styles, except Steve Garcia is a southpaw and Adrian Yanez is an orthodox. Now, you may think, oh, it's funny I mentioned that. Calvin Kattar and Rob Font train out of the same gym, so they do have that similar style. They do have that high and tight guard. They are both defensively sound. Steve Garcia is not going to be able to go out there and get this guy out of here in 3 minutes. A well-rounded guy like Calvin Kattar, who's good defensively, who's intelligently defensive on the feet, who doesn't get wobbled, who doesn't get dropped, who doesn't have a biscuit chin, who's never been knocked out before, who's 37 years old with fucking what? 22 he's got over 10 fights more experience than him, and he's been in deep water, and he's been tested, and he's shown that he can get hurt, come back and win. I'm taking that. I'm taking that over the guy who's getting dropped by cans who are fucking working in a 7-Eleven now. So shoot me all you want, fucking bag me in the comments all you want. I'm just going off the facts here, and I think that Calvin Kattar is the more intelligent pick. Calvin Kattar is where I'm putting my money. He's the underdog of the week bet. I'm actually more confident in Calvin Kattar than I was with Benil Dariush defeating Renato Moicano. So, yeah, I'm sorry if you guys are fucking picking Steve because you're going to lose your money. Now, all jokes aside, Steve Garcia can win this fight, but if he comes out like he normally does, he won't win. Calvin Kattar is going to be intelligent like Rob Font did to Adrian Yanez. He's going to take his time. He's going to poke that jab out at him. Poke that jab. He does have he does have a very well respected jab. He does have good elbows when they are timing. He's very attentive in there. Fuck me, Jesus Christ. He's very intelligent on the feet. He's not just one of those guys that are throwing shots for the sake of it. He's setting up his shots well. Very respected fighter on the feet. I just say like the kind of shots that he throws I really like for a guy like Steve Garcia who just comes in, throws that looping like left overhand, dips his head off to the right. I feel like Kattar's just going to clip him with a right hand as he tries to do that, or a check right uppercut. Calvin Kattar is going to be the pick here. He's the underdog of the card. I've got a lot of people beefing with me in the comments this week, so it's going to be a real good one to get this one. On top of that, we are moving on to props now. I am going to add a prop to this underdog of the week bet, and that is going to be Calvin Kattar by first round KO. Now, you could go with the first or second round KO. If I'm just going to label it as a prop for KO inside rounds 1 or 2. But if I was to pick one, if you guys are looking for juicier odds, I would say pick round 1. As Steve Garcia does fight like a bit of a spastic. He gets dropped in round 1 a lot. He gets hurt in round 1 a lot. Yeah, I could go into so much more detail on this, but I'm picking Calvin Kattar. Now we've gone over underdog of the week. We've gone over our props. Our lock of the week. Now we're going to move on to our props. Now, one prop we have for this fight is the Junior Tafa versus Tuko Tokas fight. Now, both guys are terrible. Junior Tafa has much better striking. Tuko Tokas is kind of just like a on the back foot, stay at range, and a leg kick, body kick. He uses his kicks more than his hands. He only lands 2.5 significant strikes per minute. He did showcase that he can stay in there with some good strikers like Navajo Sterling. He rode that one out to a 15-minute fight. The real only threat for Junior Tafa here is the grappling. I feel like they both have shit cardio. Junior Tafa moving down there, I feel like he's going to be in the best shape that we've ever seen him in, which is going to be enough to beat a guy like Tuko Tukas. So I'm picking Junior Tafa. Tuko Tukas could get this one done if he can weather an early storm and get the takedowns. But the thing is, I just can't see that happening with his cardio. He's staying at the same weight class. You know, we've seen it in all these fights. He's not really progressing in that area. I'm going to take a prop here of a Junior Tafa decision. Now, this is 10-1 odds. So you put $100, you're getting 1,000. I'm not super confident in this, but it's definitely a fucking option. It's definitely likely that this one could get done because Junior Tafa, if he's not getting you out of there in 7 minutes, 6 minutes, he begins to fade. He's breathing heavy. He's got his mouth open. He's very slow. We saw that in his last fight with Sean Sheriff, a guy who came in off the regional scene, undefeated 4-0, fought him on short notice. Tuffer kind of fumbled the finish in early stages of round 1. And then in round 2, you know, if Sean Sheriff had a better cardio, he probably would have rode out and won that decision there. But Yeah, I don't think Tuko Tukas' cardio is as bad as his previous opponent, but it's good enough to, survive if he does survive that early storm, definitely a very high chance because Junior Tafa, if he fumbles a finish early, he's just going to be looking to throw those same shots that Tuko Tukas has been seeing in round one, and he's going to be aware of that. His corner's going to tell him. I think he's going to have like Brendan Allen in his corner as well. Normally, when I do watch Tuko Tukas fight, and Brendan Allen in the corner of opponents. He does give out good advice, so I like Brendan Allen in that regard. But yeah, Junior Tougher by decision is going to be the prop here. Now these are props; they're not fucking locks, so I don't want to hear it in the comments. These are just essentially props that I'm giving out good juicy odds for the viewers who. You want to put $5, $10, $20 on something. Maybe you just want a multi or a parlay and you want to put 50 on something. Fuck it. Um, but yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing. Just a nice little juicy one, Junior Tougher by decision. Very, very likely if he can't get the finish early. So keep that one in mind for a prop. We are going to go to Volta Walker versus Kennedy and Zakachukwu. Now, I've been in the comments a lot with this one. I believe Kennedy and Zakachukwu. Why am I saying his name retarded as soon as I start fucking filming myself? Kennedy Nuzachukwu versus Volta Walker. I think Kennedy's going to get this one done. I think Volta Walker's terrible. He lost to Lucas Brzeski. Fucking Kennedy knocked out Lucas Brzeski in round two, dominated him. Bro, if you watch the fucking Lucas Brzeski versus Volta Walker fight, Lucas Brzeski looks like a top five heavyweight in round one. He's going forward. He's light on his feet. He looks like Aspinall in the first minute. He's light on his feet. Bang! 1-2, 1-2. Or jab to the body. Come over the top of the right hand. He was hurting Volta as well. Volta was just on the back foot, fucking eating shots against the cage. I don't think Volta Walker's good. I don't believe in him. He got the two heel hooks against Junior Tafa and Dontel Mays. Junior Tough is not any good. He's a good stand-up fighter in some regard, but he's got zero jiu-jitsu, and that obviously we saw that there. Dontel Mays, it's not a very creditable win either. I believe Dontel Mays is like 11-8, so I don't rate those wins highly. Kennedy Nzechukwu has been in there with the likes of Dustin Jacoby, Carlos Olberg, Devin Clark. He's got a win over Carlos Olberg. Carlos Olberg's only loss in his career, and he knocked him out as well. I think so. The prop for this one is going to be a Volta Walker round one submission because I do believe that if he is to win this fight, it's not going to be in rounds. It's not going to be if it goes past the 8 minute mark, and it's not going to be a late finish. If he gets this one done, I think he's going to get Kennedy down when he's got a full gas tank. He's not in round three or round two breathing heavy after Kennedy's been going to the body with the front kicks. If he is going to win, he's going to get him down in round one, and he's going to get on top of him. Maybe find like a head and arm choke, or maybe even his classic heel hook again. But that I got that at $12.50 odds. I believe that's even still at like 15-ish dollar odds. So 15, you put $10 on it, you're getting 150. So yeah, that's very likely. I don't know why the odds are so high. Or if you don't want to do round, you can just take Volta Walker by submission. That's $7. So you put $10 on, you're getting 70 in return. So it's a very good bang for your buck in the price. But I'm just not. I do think Kennedy is going to win. But if you are looking for a prop, you just want to put 5, 10, $20 on a bet. Maybe try and turn that into 200. Then Volta Walker by round one submission is the prop for you. Moving on. Now, we'll just quickly go over the first two fights of the night in one. I'm going to be taking Mike Davis and I'm going to be taking Fatima Klein. They're both heavy favourites. Two quick props. I'm not going to break these two down very quick, very, in depth. One prop that is definitely hittable, maybe even a parlay piece that you can add because it's not as big as a Hail Mary prop like the Junior Tafa decision, but Fatima Klein by knockout or by submission. So Fatima Klein by finish, definitely a possibility. She has very good cardio. She's not a girl that's just looking to go out there and point fight and lay on you and get the decision win. She's constantly looking for the finish. She has multiple finishes on her record. Um, she has finished Victoria Dudikova in her last fight, coming off of a TKO. Melissa Martinez, I don't think we've seen her for at least 8 months to a year. Bit inactive. Fatima Klein's been more active. She's constantly looking for the finish. I believe there's going to be a big advantage on the ground for Fatima Klein in this one. So if she does take her down, I feel like she can find the submission, maybe a rear naked choke or a guillotine. I am going to be taking Fatima Klein by to win this one. Very confident in that. Prop is going to be Fatima Klein by a finish at plus money $2.10. And for the Mike Davis fight, my prop is going to be Mike Davis by submission. I think that Mitchell Ramirez is respectable enough in round one. After 5 minutes, he kind of fades. He's breathing heavy. Came off the contender series, got knocked out by Carlos Prates in round two. Didn't look terrible in round one, keep in mind. Um, but then in his next fight, got TKO'd by Thiago Moises. I feel like Mike Davis is a bit overrated in the sense of like the KO odds. They're a bit juiced. Even in the Farasiam fight, like even in this fight, he's more favoured to win by knockout than submission. I think that's bullshit. I think Mike Davis is going to get the takedowns. Even a chance for Ramirez to shoot the takedowns as well, and Mike Davis to sprawl, take his back, or sink in a Darce choke. But I think Mike Davis is going to get the takedowns, pass his guard, and get a head and arm choke or something like that. I'm going with Mike Davis. So those are the last two props. Just a recap of everything. So for the props, we have Fatima Klein by finish at plus money. We have Mike Davis by submission at plus money. We have Volta Walker by round one submission at $15 odds. Our lock of the week is Chris Curtis by decision. Another prop is Junior Tafa by decision. And our underdog of the week is Calvin Kattar. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys tail these, make some money. Very confident in this week's underdog of the week. Very confident in the Chris Curtis lock of the week. As long as the cunt doesn't get a fucking sneaky third round finish, we're going to be good. But I don't think he will. I think we're good on these ones. The underdog, the lock, and I believe at least one to two of those props that I gave out are going to hit too. So I think it's going to be a good week for us who are tailing and who are watching. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to post a video, a recap video tomorrow or the day after, just on how the bets, how successful our bets were, bets that hit, bets that did not, and yeah, and then later on in the week we'll post a UFC 318 video. So thank you guys for watching.